What's going on, guys? My name is RagingRaptor and I welcome you to a new World of Tanks video, because today we are going to have a look at my first impression of the new double-barrel guns, or in that matter, double-barrel tanks. The IS-2-II, the IS-3-II on tier 9 and the IS-2-II on tier 10. I played each tanks, I played it once at least in top configuration and also once at least in stock configuration, as well as did some troll build with the tier 8 one, and this is where I would like to start. I heard a lot of people talking about the IS-2-II being like power creeped by the 703 version 2 122mm gun, and I understand that issue or that thought from most people because, well, the tank has the issue that it only has two 100mm guns with just 300 alpha, and you are definitely, it's definitely understandable to just say, but the 703 has 390 alpha, that's what the tier 9 is getting. And I kind of agree with that, especially as the 703 version 2 has better armor, but I honestly have to say, after playing the IS-2-II, I have to say it's a fun tank to play because it's a little bit unique, and something very important, it has 7 degrees of gun depression compared to the -5 of the 703 version 2 premium tank. And it has a much more potent engine, meaning it actually is very good when it comes to mobility stuff, and this makes this tank, in my opinion, very decent to play. One huge issue I am having with the IS-2-II at the moment on the test server is that you barely can play the stock turret. The stock turret is 250mm thick, it is not really well angled. This means that everybody's just shooting through your turret. I went into more detail of the game model when I gave you the preview of all those tanks, of the armor models and so on and so forth, so check this out if you would like. But overall, I was thinking when I first saw the stats of the IS-2-II that it's going to be a mediocre tank, maybe even trash, especially that it will be used as a stock tank like the ISM. But I have to be honest and I have to say, well done Wargaming. You made a tank which, if it is stock, isn't completely useless, because the turret still needs more or less premium rounds to get penetrated. And I am understanding that some of you might now say, what about the stock gun? It only has 180 damage, but it has 212 penetration, if I'm not mistaken. Standard. And this is a stock gun. I have to say, this is very good. Like, I personally think the IS-2-II in stock configuration is a very formidable enemy, or a very formidable tank, something which you can look forward to play. Like, it is nothing like infuriatingly bad, and I have to say, very well done Wargaming. I had fun playing this tank in stock configuration, and I have to say, this tank is even okay to play with the stock gun. You sadly don't get better DPM. That's a really big pity. You, however, get more consistency in the sense of that you shoot fast, and if you miss a shot, it's not that big of a deal. Plus, the guns aim a little bit more quicker because they're just 58mm guns and not 100mm guns. However, let's be honest, the 100mm gun is going to be the best thing for this tank, and if you want to compare it with a tank in the current tech trees, I'd say 53 TP. 53 TP all the way to go. Plus, I nicked a lot about the frontal hull armor, and I have to say, it's surprisingly bouncy, especially the lower plate, which is 155mm thick. I was surprised how often I bounced there and how often enemies bounced me. So I have to say I am positively surprised by the IS-2-II. So yeah, let's move on to the IS-3-II. Okay, the IS-3-II is, in my opinion, the jewel of this new sub-tank tree. Like, I had so much fun playing the IS-3-II. The only issue, and if you get to the IS-3-II, is, remember, get the turret first. The turret is key to your pleasure to play this tank. Don't get the gun first, don't get the tracks first, turret. Turret. Seriously, the turret is your saving grace, because the stock turret is not bad per se, but it's much easier to penetrate. While the top turret of the IS-3-II, like, it feels so convenient to play. It gets 8 degrees of gun depression, not 7 degrees like the IS-2-II gets. It has the option to play the stock guns with just 100, which are just 2 100mm guns with 300 damage each, which actually have better DPM than the top guns. The top guns are a BL9 variant, which you would know from the IS-3, and those have actually very decent penetration as well. 243mm of base penetration, 292mm of gold penetration. But one thing I absolutely love about the IS-3-II is the combination of good gun depression, convenient accuracy on the move and turret traverse, decent-ish aim time, and mobility. Like, this is why I personally think the IS-3-II is the jewel of this whole tech tree. It's very, very fun to play, and it sadly feels a little bit like the AMX M451 versus AMX M454, where the tier 9 tank just feels tier for tier much better than the tier 10 tank. Because yes, the tier 10 tank gets better armor, we're coming to get in just a minute, but the mobility gets a huge hit. And I have to say, honestly speaking, the IS-3-II is the best tank in this line from the testing I did today. I'm very much looking forward to the IS-3-II. Do I think it is overpowered? Honestly speaking, the hull is not that strong. The hull is actually not that strong. The turret is somewhat, like, it is 280mm thick, which is very good. So premium rounds still can shoot through it, but it's not as easy as you might think. But the mobility, just the mobility makes this tank, in my opinion, so much better. Like, it's a very big pleasure to play, really. I'm really looking forward to play this tank in the live server. And obviously, but that's just personal opinion, the tank looks gorgeous. I love how the tank looks. Like, everything about this tank looks amazing. But that's just my personal opinion. But nevertheless, IS-3-II, that's like, I didn't expect this tank to be this good. I might think that this tank may or may not get a nerf. I don't know where they want to nerf it, maybe on the preparation time of the salvo. Maybe a tiny touch on the DPM. But most likely DPM, yeah. But man, this tank is a lot of fun. Like, seriously, it's a lot of fun. So how is the ST-II? The ST-II just has the issue that it's so much more clumsy. Like, we all make jokes about the ST-1s having that bloated turret. Like the bloated bubble melon head, you know. And sadly speaking, or sadly enough, the ST-II just feels too sluggish. You start with the IS-2-II, which is really mobile when you fully equip it with the best engine and so on. Then you get the IS-3-II, which is slightly less mobile, but man, it has more alpha, it has a much better turret, the whole armor is actually not that bad. You have 8 degrees of gun depression, you're like blown away by how convenient the IS-3-II feels and how great it feels when it's fully equipped or fully elite. And then you get the ST-II and you're like, man, I'm looking forward to this. But I have to say, just comparing it to the IS-3-II, the ST-II doesn't feel that well. It lacks the mobility, which I absolutely adore of the IS-3-II. Nevertheless, the armor is much better. Like, you can side scrape with this tank. This tank, the IS-II, has only 5mm less side armor on those angled plates than the IS-4. With, in my opinion, arguably a better turret. Sure, you have the big cupola, but the cupola is not an easy 30mm easy to pen quote thing, you know? You still need to have a pretty decent pen roll to actually pen this cupola. You have a 100mm roof, which means, well, good luck penning it. You can't, basically. You can't pen it. And the guns are not bad. Like, they have better DPM stock, than the IS-4, which is arguably something which you wouldn't expect. Seriously, I was pleasantly surprised, or was really surprised, that this tank had such good DPM. Sure, you can't get the tank gun rammer on the IS-2, but the DPM is very good. Stock without any modules, it's better than the IS-4. And comparing this tank to the IS-4, I have to say, in most cases, the SD2 is going to be better, because it has the ability to have 2 guns, which are pretty quick when it comes to firing, like 5 seconds is not that much. You have this huge 880 alpha, bam! It feels good and it feels like fun to play. However, there are some major draws or drawbacks. As already mentioned, the mobility. The mobility is very, very annoying. You are slow in turning and your turret is especially slow. 18 degrees per second. Compared to the 25 of the IS-3-II and the 29 of the IS-2-II. Like seriously, the turret feels like it's so slow. It feels like they didn't really put any motor in it and it's hand cranked. That slow. So that's a little bit inconvenient. Sure, you get more armor, don't get me wrong. The armor is actually very, very good. Plus the 8 degrees of gun depression make this tank very convenient to be played. But I have to say, I have to learn it again. I don't really know many places where I can use the 8 degrees of gun depression. That's the issue number 1. And second, if at the moment on the test server everybody is spamming heat, so your armor is kind of not the best that it will be. And second, your premium rounds are 30mm weaker than the ones of the IS-4. So if you play the SD2 and you have to play against something like a 279 or a 268 version 4, and you can't really aim for their little cupola, you're boned. I'm sorry to say, but you're boned. You don't really get anything. So that's a little bit of a pity. Because, honestly, the SD2-II is not bad. It's fun to play. But it feels like a downgrade from the IS-3-II. I think in the IS-3-II I am performing better and still have more fun than I have in the SD2. And it's all because of the mobility. And I know wargaming is not going to change that. But, yeah. In conclusion, do I think those tanks are overpowered? No. I don't think so. Compared to the IS-4, the SD2 is clearly better. In most situations. But that's just the issue that the IS-4 is trash. The accuracy on the move is not as good as the on the 703 on all of those tanks. But it's okay. It's something you can work with. But they are not I don't think they're OP. They're fun to play, but definitely not overpowered. You couldn't call it bias, but no, I don't think so. Like, the only thing which can make them broken in quotation mark is that they have a 5-second reload time basically when they are fully loaded. So they are quicker at dispatching you. But I didn't really felt that often that this was a major impact why I was winning a 1 versus 1 or something. But yeah, that is my first impression of those tanks. Let me know in the comment section below what you think. If you want to see gameplay commented by me, well, let me know and I will provide that. I still plan on doing some showcasings of the stock turret or stock configurations and the top configurations. In general though, all those tanks are playable stock. They are not abysmal. They work. They're not good, but they work. My name is RagingRaptor, thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you in the next video. Cheers guys.